Okay, good evening and welcome to our Village Board of Trustees meeting for the September 3rd meeting. If we could all stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There's a point of reference, exits to the rear, off to your left, and over here to the right. The first order of business is the public hearing, introductory draft law of 2024, amending chapter 43 of the Village Code, vehicles and traffic. I need a motion to open that public hearing.
Carl will make the motion.
Second.
Behringer will second.
Call the question.
Behringer, aye.
Carl, aye.
O'Connor, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Okay, the public hearing is open. Anyone wishing to speak upon it is welcome to come on up to the microphone, give the clerk your name, and I think we ask for an address, don't we? Just give us your name. We're not really concerned if you're from Kansas. Okay, anyone wishing to speak, please do so.
I have a couple of things if I could bring up regarding that. I looked at that today. That's okay.
Yeah, you can, when we get to it down here, we can discuss it.
The Stage Road speed limit, which is down as 30 miles an hour throughout the entire thing, according to what's being proposed or what is there now. This section between Lake Street and 17M, there's no signs at all.
Lake and where?
Between Lake Street,
yeah.
Carpenter, Lakes, and 17M, there's no speed limit signs at all. On the other side, it's a 30 mile an hour speed limit. There's, I think, one or two of them along the way. And then when you go past Rye Hill Road, it goes to 25. So it's not consistent.
Oh, so it's 25 between Rye Hill and
17M. No, I'm sorry. Rye Hill and Orange Turnpike.
Got it.
So my recommendation is that entire length from the general business district right on up and through should be 25 miles an hour right through. And not the 30 that's in the
I thought we had spoken about that, but
we talked about commercial traffic.
no, I mean.
I've had some discussions. I told you the differences between the speed limit signs, where it's 30 over here and then you get Rye Hill and it goes down to 25. Make the whole thing 25. 43-B, state, county, regarding intersecting. Let me just, if I can pull it up. Let's see if I can find it. 43.
What's that?
I got 43-B.
As in boy.
Yes. Here, yeah, it says stop signs on all village streets at intersections where such streets enter into state or county highways. Now, my question is, what about all village streets intersecting with village streets where you have intersections? Shouldn't we be, we had to go through my development because they were blowing, there was no street, no stop signs. Shouldn't village intersections?
I think they want, if where you're going here is having stop signs that not currently, I think there's a distinguishing thing between state and county versus the village to village.
Okay.
But I think the chief wanted the opportunity to do a walkthrough. He was given a list, this goes back a couple of years now.
Right.
I don't think that ever came to the finish line, so maybe that needs to do, but I think, council, if I'm correct, you can add stop signs
Yeah, I mean.
as a resolution.
Right, so the local law you're proposing tonight, right, and the other public hearing on, really takes much of those lists that are now embedded in the law.
Yep.
And makes them applicable, just takes them out of the local law, and you are allowed by resolution to add subtract, etc. So things like that, in consultation with the chief, you can do, once you adopt this local law, you can do by resolution.
Okay.
My only concern about this local law tonight is that those lists are not prepared. So if you were to adopt this local law tonight, you wouldn't have, all of those regulations would be gone. So my suggestion would be that you've got the public hearing, the public has been allowed to look at the local law, chief has seen it. I would simply adopt it and make, if you want to, and make it effective in 30 days, which gives the board time to prepare those lists so that the local law becomes effective, but then the chief has all those lists.
But,
But the
Does
list,
that make sense?
yeah, don't we have to file this with the state?
Yes, but the
And that's
local
what, 30,
law-
is that 30 or 45 days normally?
No, it's whenever it's filed. So that means that if the local law is, if the Department of State gets the local law and they acknowledge it in 5 days, they'll send a letter saying, okay, we got it on such and such date, and then it's effective.
Okay.
So if we say the local law is effective a month from now, you send it in, and surely within that month, it will be acknowledged by the Department of State, but it won't actually take effect until a month from now.
All right.
So that would be October.
so I'm just curious, just to tag on to what John just said, what it currently has in it now will be stripped from it.
Not all of it, but most of those
lot of it will.
lists, like one-way streets,
Well, we can't have anything change. Whatever's there, what we're gonna change is to come. You've done a bunch.
yeah, but what I've done, if you look at the local law, is I have, did you see the markup of the local law?
Yeah.
So basically, I've taken out certain lists, like commercial vehicles prohibited on Gilbert Street, so that you can create a list by resolution that says commercial vehicles are prohibited on these streets. Orchard Street, High Street, all of the ones listed there, right? It's out of the local law and will now be on a list, so that you can change those.
Right, but let's go back to Gilbert. The reason Gilbert says in that direction is to get you to the rear of ShopRite, because you have tractor trailers delivering products, ShopRite, post office, all of that. That's the reason that's there. That should not change, but they should not come from any direction other than one, which is the northeasterly direction. So,
Right, from the rear entrance to the
What
post
are you
office
looking at? Are
to
you-
Gilbert
are you
Street
looking
is
at
no commercial traffic.
43-3 now that as it is?
hey, I'm looking at the markup you did.
Okay, so 43-3 is out. It's out. Commercial vehicles prohibited on Gilbert Street. So you would instead have a list that says, that would have everything that's in 43-3 now would simply be on a list that you would adopt by resolution. Got it? So it would be there, it's just not embedded in the local law. So that if you want to change it, you can change it by resolution.
Okay, but my concern, if it's valid, is that we're basically pulling it out, so it doesn't exist any longer. Whatever we had no longer exists.
Right,
And
and
now, we're going to, by next meeting, have an amended,
if you adopt this local law now, and you can make it applicable in 2 months, or at any date you decide. You can adopt it now, and you can make it applicable on a date certain, whether it's October 3rd, December 3rd, January 1st, and at that point, your local law will change. And anything that was taken out of this local law won't be taken out until the date that this local law becomes effective, at which point you will have created all of these rules and regulations as they apply to the streets.
Okay, so bottom line is we leave everything as it is until we come to the final list of whatever
Right. If you-
speed, speed, type of traffic, weight, and then pull the trigger.
Yeah, so the only difference between what I said and what you said is you're pulling the trigger, you need to pull the trigger now and say the gun isn't gonna, the bullet will not leave the chamber until October 3rd. Or
I don't-
you
yeah.
wait until October 3rd.
We have to wait.
Okay, then tonight you'll table it and you will tell me exactly what you want on a list versus what is in this local law now. So if you don't want to take out 43-3, then you won't take it out. Okay?
Well, to take it out means then what happens to Gilbert Street, for instance?
Everything in 43-3 that's in the local law. Currently will be on a policy of rules and regulations that you will adopt by resolution, which can then be changed by resolution instead of every single.
By local law.
Yeah, you have to have a public hearing, you have to do all that. Now, you'll have to have a public hearing, but you don't have to go through this whole process of modifying the local law at the
Understood.
expense of the update and all of that.
Understood. My question though, in the current iteration, 43-3A, that's just, that you
It's in your
struck,
local law now.
right, that you struck, right? That's your red line, okay. What have we replaced it with? Anything as a current right now? Something to
No,
read? No,
nothing.
nothing.
It's not-
Then
no.
there's nothing to do tonight.
Okay, so then nothing will happen, none of these other changes that you've requested or the chief has requested, nothing's gonna happen.
Well, I'm not gonna have half a bake, right? We're gonna do this one time?
You can do that.
So you say that what you've changed to date will be effective as of X date, but it's in the book now, but it doesn't have any, like, in other words, whatever he's requested, whatever he's asked, whatever the board has done, is not effective until that date, call it October 2nd.
Yes, you can either make that, you can either do that now by adopting this local law as I've drafted it, or you can wait until you get all of the list, until you put together the policy and the regulations. If you want to wait until you have that all put together and then check that against what I've drafted here to be taken out of the local law, that's certainly, you can certainly do that.
Right.
You know, that just means that you're gonna go through this local law in detail, and you're gonna say, okay, I'm gonna take out 43-3, I'm gonna put it in part of my rules and regulations.
But just as an example, all I'm trying to say, Elise, not to be difficult, I'm just trying to say 43-3A, excuse me, 43-3A has been struck.
It would be struck if you adopt this local law.
And have we put anything in to replace it?
You have not.
Right, and that's my
Okay,
point.
so my point is, you can either adopt the local law now and make it effective and give yourself time to put this policy together, the rules, which we've been talking about forever, or you can just table this again and you can close the public hearing, you can table this until you put that policy and the rules and regulations together, and then you can adopt it at whatever point in time that's done.
Right, so doing it today has no effect until the effective date.
That is correct.
So what's the point of doing it?
And we got to get it out there.
No, I'm just saying,
Yeah,
you can't do anything with it.
No, the only point I'm making here is that you've been talking about this now for over a year. And it's always been, we're gonna take all this out,
No, I'm with you, I didn't know we weren't ready. To be frank with you, I didn't know we weren't ready.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right, so to be ready then, somebody on this board has to sit down, take everything out, and decide, okay, yeah, let's take 43-3 out, and instead put it in our rules and regulations. So somebody has to formulate those rules and regulations.
right. We'll do that. We'll do that
Okay,
together.
so then when you get to this on the agenda, you will table it.
Yeah,
I mean, I think you can close the public hearing.
yeah.
But what,
You want to keep it, yeah.
yeah, just one other thing that I wanted to bring up, which is Franklin Avenue, where it intersects with Forest Avenue,
Sure.
down by where the parcel that we bought. That should be made a stop sign, so it's a three-way stop sign there. I came down through there the other day, down Forest Avenue, and literally the school bus on Sunday was airborne going through there. I think we've got to have a mechanism for calming traffic, and stop signs do help with that. But that should be a three-way stop sign there. 'Cause
Can we
it's-
do something because it's near a school?
Well, school zones are 20 miles per hour.
Well, I was going to
That's
say, either paint it really well or kind of like the stop sign with the one by the four-way by mine. Is there any way we can do something like that where there's a light kind of flat, like letting them know
Well, you could.
there's a stop sign coming or three stop
Deb,
signs?
Yes, agreed, but each one of those signs costs the village 20 grand.
How much?
20,
Oh, okay.
I said.
I'm just thinking something, where are you saying it's the worst, John? Coming down the hill?
Even Jack's, even going
Well,
up Forest is a problem, Franklin. Because then they turn right on, they don't care what's coming
it's
down
that,
Forest. That's the problem.
make it a three-way stop sign. That's the start. And then it's an enforcement issue.
Right. But like maybe painted a little more,
Well, I mean, there's, you follow the traffic manual as far as placement of your signs,
And there's a definitive plan
so.
that has to be followed.
But I did dig, and I did see the trailers in the street in here, which has been people parking a trailer in the road and just leaving it there all summer long because they think they can. I mean, I see it's been added in here that it'd be prohibited, so, on a village street.
Sure.
But I didn't go through this with a fine-tooth comb. I just kind of went through it pretty quickly today, to be honest with you.
I actually remember doing this with you
Yeah.
a year ago.
But, there may be a few other things, but more importantly, Stage Road needs to be uniform from one end to the other. And I think 25 from here right to the blinking light at Orange Turnpike.
Got it.
Okay, that's all I have.
Okay, so having said that, I think we need a motion to close the public hearing at this time.
O'Connor will make the motion.
Second,
Berenger will second.
call the question.
Berenger, aye.
Carl, aye.
O'Connor, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Next order of business, the approval of the meeting minutes of the August 20th, 24 board meeting. I need a motion to accept the minutes as submitted by the clerk.
Berenger will make the motion.
O'Connor will second.
Discussion,
No.
call the question.
Berenger, aye.
Carl abstain.
O'Connor, aye.
Call the question.
Berenger, aye.
You abstained?
And O'Connor, aye.
Aye, okay, you got that? Okay, thank you. Next order of business, completion of probation, part-time account clerk typist. Hello, is that something we need to do for housekeeping? All right, trustee O'Connor, you wanna do that?
Sure. Be it resolved, the following part-time account clerk typist for the building department hereby completes her probationary period. Nina Morris, effective June 21st, 2024. The necessary MSD-426B will be submitted to the Orange County Department of Human Resources, and I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
Second, please,
Carl, the second.
call the question.
Berenger, aye.
Carl, aye.
O'Connor, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Okay, next order of business is the appointment of DPW seasonal laborer Jay Munoz.
Three B.
Let me do it, Neil?
You got it handy?
Yeah. May it be resolved, the Board of Trustees approves the appointment of Jesus Munoz, 1 North Main Street, Apartment 2F, Monroe, New York, to the position of seasonal laborer. Pre-approval of his appointment has been received from Orange County Department of Civil Service, and his appointment is effective September 5th, 2024, at $20 an hour. I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
Did you say September 5th?
I did.
Okay, yeah. Okay, we got a first.
Berenger will second.
Call the question.
Berenger, aye.
Carl, I.
O'Connor, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Next order of business is the adoption of local law 5, amending chapter 43. We're going to table it.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll move forward on that, make the clerk reflect that, okay? Okay, next order of business, introductory local law of 2024, amending to chapter 155A, property maintenance law and scheduling of the public hearing. Okay, be it resolved that an introductory local law titled Amendment to Chapter 155A Property Maintenance Law is hereby introduced by Mayor Dwyer before the Board of Trustees of the Village of Monroe, County of Orange, State of New York, and be it further resolved that the copy of the aforesaid proposed local law be laid upon the desk of each member of the Board of Trustees, and be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees shall hold a public meeting on said proposed local law at Village Hall, 7 Stage Road, Monroe, New York, at 7 p.m. on September 17th, 2024, and be it further resolved, the village clerk shall publish or cause to be published a public notice in the official newspaper of the Village of Monroe no later than 5 days prior thereto. I need a motion.
Berenger will make the motion.
Second,
Carl, the second.
discussion? Call the question?
Berenger, aye.
Carl, I.
O'Connor, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried, thank you. Next order of business, trustee Carl, Nikon Public Works Training.
Yep. Resolve the Board of Trustees approves the attendance of water treatment plant operator Ernest Maybe at the New York State Conference of Mayors Public Works Training School, October 21st to October 23rd, Saratoga Springs, New York. The approximate total cost for the conference, including program fees and hotel stay, is $893 to be allocated from budget line F8330.4720 Purification Education. A village vehicle will be utilized for transportation, and I'll put that in the form of a motion.
Second, please.
O'Connor will second.
Discussion? Call the question?
Berenger, aye.
Carl, I.
O'Connor, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Next order of business, penalty waiver, trustee Carl.
Hold on one second here. Look at this. Village water customer 2343 requests to have the $488.73 penalty fee waived from her water account. The property had a water pipe break on February 7th, 2024. The water has since been shut off, and the property owners are working with State Farm Insurance for reimbursement for their loss. I will put it in the form of a motion that resolve the Board of Trustees denies the request for village water customer 2343 for waiver of the water penalties totaling
Second,
$488.73.
please.
O'Connor will second.
Discussion? Call the question?
Berenger, aye.
Carl, I.
O'Connor, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Next order of business, request for exemption of town highway items 3 and 4. Resolve the Board of Trustees by signed petition request the town board of the town of Monroe to exempt residents of the Village of Monroe of taxes for items 3 and 4 of the town of Monroe highway budget as authorized by section 277 of the town highway law. I need a motion to adopt this or request this exemption.
Carl will make that motion.
Second,
Berenger will second.
discussion? Call the question?
Berenger, aye.
Carl, I.
O'Connor, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Okay. Halloween curfew for 2024. Whereas October 30th and 31st, Halloween, the village is besieged by youths who create problems for residents and the Village of Monroe Police Department. To complicate the situation, the police department has determined that many of the youth were non-residents who refused to leave the village due to the fact that there were no laws requiring them to be off the streets. And whereas the following definitions shall apply: minor is being less than 18 years of age, a parent is the natural adoptive parent of a minor, guardian is any person or other persons or parents who has the legal guardianship of a minor, custodian is any person over the age of 21 who is loco parentes to a minor, and a public place is any street, alley, highway, sidewalk, park, playground, or place in which the general public has access and a right to resort for business, entertainment, and/or lawful purpose. A public place shall include but not be limited to any store, shop, restaurant, tavern, bowling alley, cafe, theater, drugstore, pool room, shopping center, and any other place devoted to amusement or open to the public. It shall also include the front or immediate area of the above. And whereas any minor attending a special function or entertainment at any church, school, club, or organization that requires such minor to be out at a later time than, a later hour than called for within this proclamation shall be exempt from the provisions of the proclamation, provided such church, school, club, or other similar organizations shall register in advance with the Monroe Police Department to have the minors stay out at this later hour. The registrant shall state the time when the function or entertainment shall end, and the minors who attend the function shall be required to be in their place of abode within 1/2 hour after the function is ended. And whereas it shall be unlawful for any person, firm, or corporation operating or having charge of any public place to knowingly permit or suffer the presence of minors under the age of 18 on October 30 and 31 between the hours of 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. of the following morning. And whereas it shall be unlawful for the parent, guardian, or other adult person having custody or control of any minor under the age of 18 to permit or by inefficient control to allow such minor to be on the streets or sidewalk or in any public property or public place within the village on October 30th and 31st between the hours of 8 p.m. and 6 p.m. the following morning. However, the provisions of this section do not apply to a minor accompanied by his parent, guardian, custodian, and/or other adult having the care, custody, or control of the minor, or if the minor is in an emergency errand or specified business or activity directed by his parent, guardian, custodian, or other adult having the care or custody of the minor, or if the parent, guardian, custody, or other adult person herein is made a missing person notification to the village police. Now therefore, during the periods of October 30 and 31, it shall be unlawful for any minor to remain idle, wander, stroll, or play in a public place, either on foot or to cruise about without a set destination in any vehicle and or about any place in the village between the hours of 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. of the following morning, unless accompanied by a parent, guardian, custodian, or other adult having custody of control of the minor, or unless the minor is an emergency errand or specified business or activity or permitted by his parent, guardian, or other adult person having the custody or the care of the minor, or where the presence of such minors connect with or required by some legitimate employment, trade, profession, or occupation. Any police officer, upon finding a minor in violation of the resolution, shall ascertain the name and address of the minor and warn the minor that he or she is in violation of the curfew, and shall direct the minor to proceed at once to his or her home or usual place of abode. The police officer shall report such action to the parents, guardian, or person having custody or control of the minor. If such minor refuses to heed the warning or direction given to them by the police officer, refuses to give the police officer his or her correct name and address, or if the minor has been warned on a previous occasion that he or she is in violation of the curfew, such minor, if age is 16 or older, may be issued an appearance ticket, and the parent, guardian, or other adult having the care and custody of such minor shall be notified to appear with such minor at a date and time to be determined in an appearance ticket for an appearance before the Village of Monroe Justice Court. If any minor age 16 or older who violates any section of this article shall, upon conviction, be subject to a fine not to exceed $100 for the first offense and not to exceed $250 for each additional offense. Community service may be imposed by the court in addition to the above-mentioned fine. When a minor is required to perform community service, the parent or guardian shall be required to transport the minor to the place specified by the court. I need a motion to accept the resolution as written. And
Berenger will make the motion.
Carl will second.
discussion, call the question.
Berenger, aye.
Carl, I.
O'Connor, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Next order of business is the Girl Scout Pinwheels for Peace Promoting International Peace Day. Debbie, trustee Berenger?
Be it resolved, the Board of Trustees approves the request of Barbara Mallory, Service Unit Manager of the Monroe Woodbury Girl Scouts, to acknowledge a National Day of Peace by making pinwheels for peace and placing them around the walking path from Lake Street to Route 17M towards the waterfall. The pinwheels will be on display Friday, September 20th through the evening of Sunday, September 22nd, weather permitting. A table will be set up on September 20th from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. for members of the community to stop by and make a pinwheel to add to their display. The table will be set up on the corner of Lake Street and Route 17M, and I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
Second, please.
Carl is.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Call the question.
Berenger, aye.
Carl, I.
O'Connor, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Next order of business, request for travel. Trustee Berenger.
Be it resolved, the Board of Trustees authorizes Police Chief Guzman to attend the International Association of Chiefs of Police Annual Conference held October 19, 2024 through October 22, 2024 at the Boston Convention and Exhibition Center in Boston, Massachusetts. The conference registration is $445, and the 3 nights accommodation is $1,140, totaling $1,585, to be allocated from budget line A.3120.472 PD Education, and I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
Can I get a second, please?
Carl is second.
Discussion? Call the question.
Berenger, aye.
Carlin.
O'Connor, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried, thank you. Next order of business is Play by Design Airplane Park Playground, Construction Equipment and Materials. Resolve the Board of Trustees authorize the construction, equipment, and materials for a playground at Airplane Park with assistance from Play by Design to be allocated from budget line A 7110.2000 Parks, Crane Park improvements in a total amount not to exceed $603,342.22. I need a motion to adopt this resolution.
O'Connor will make the motion.
Second,
Berenger will second.
discussion?
Yes. I looked at this today. I mean, this thing's looking for an army of approximately 280 volunteers.
In total, so in shifts, we would gather up. I don't know how big that's gonna be, and if that be the case, then we will bring in paid people to do it, that actually do that work.
So that would be above and beyond the
Above and beyond
600.
that. And the 603 is inclusive of 2 contingency lines that we currently may or may not use. So there's about $30,000 worth of contingency built into the contract on the procurement side.
Is this similar for Stanley Deming? Is that
Exactly.
same thing? So how, do we know how they went about getting their volunteers or?
So they publicized it. They put out a big effort to publicize it, market it. I know Andy, who's not here, has suggested that we do that and we bring the team together. What we are trying to do before they have a price increase, the manufacturers on this project, is to procure the project now, bring in 2 40-foot containers, have the materials delivered, and pick up a March start date. So we're not doing this in the winter where you can't get people out, it's too cold, whatever.
Now, this is going into Airplane Park, correct?
Yes, sir.
And there's people that know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Well, it
There's a whole
says,
construction group
Okay.
that comes out,
And-
and they lead you,
Okay,
but then there's the skill set that'll be there. There'll be plenty of volunteers that have the
Okay.
skill set, you have a lot of tradespeople.
well, I think it'll be great to get a new, fresh new playground.
Yeah, agreed.
well, I'm just concerned on what they're calling here for the volunteers. And again, we have the laborers union not too far up the road in Newburgh. We have the IBEW. I mean, we're going to have to somebody's going to have to reach out for some skilled people.
Yeah,
I'm for upgrading the parks, don't get me wrong. But if it's going to be all built by volunteer, we think it is,
Well,
gotta-
maybe we could reach out. I mean, I feel like I know maybe one person that was involved in the Warwick one. Do you know many people?
yeah, I know a few
Yeah.
that were, and they were very successful because they were in from day one. So I
Right.
think you break it down into your skill set and then the laborers. In that is also people that are actually making or procuring lunch. I mean, they thought of everything in that.
Right.
So, and it's 4 shifts. So there's a, early morning till noon, and then there's a noon to 5, and then it's a 5 to 9. And then, I think there's even a later shift in that.
well, they're saying here that it's a 7-day project.
That's their estimate?
Yeah. They're primarily responsible for recruiting individuals and group commitment to provide the labor to construct the project over a 7-day period.
And that's given optimal situations, right? So whether that's manpower or skill set or whatever, if it takes 14 days, right? No, it's all volunteer.
And the $603,000 is being expended in construction.
Yes,
And it's a construction project.
it's not, we're buying materials,
Is that under a state, is that a state or
full state.
state contract?
So it's all from state, so it's exempt from 103
Go out to bid.
for the materials. And the labor,
Yeah,
yeah, 650,000 is just,
yeah, it's itemized, it's very
and
detailed.
you're buying it off the state bid. Okay. Okay.
No, I just hope we can pull this off.
We'll do it. I know with you behind it, supporting it,
Yep.
I think we'll do well.
I think
What
if
are we removing equipment or are we adding?
So what's gonna remain is the plane and the merry-go-round. What's gonna be removed is that jungle gym that's there. And we're gonna do that in-house.
You gotta remember that plane, we don't own that plane.
That's right.
Right.
That plane is on loan from the Air Force Museum. And as long as that airplane is in that park's gotta be open to everyone.
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
No, well, that's all part of the agreement with that airplane, just so the board is aware of it if you're not. As long as that plane is in that park, anybody can go in there.
Right. Yeah, we've definitely incorporated by space, both those pieces.
Well, I think we have enough time to put it out there that we need
Yeah,
volunteers
I
and,
think there should be an organization,
right.
team of people put together, each person taking a task as a group and bringing the volunteers together. And then they have a construction team that comes here, and they lead the effort. Okay. Having said that, we had a first, a second discussion. Call the question.
Berenger, aye?
Carlisle,
O'Connor, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried, thank you. Okay, next order of business is the event application submitted by the Monroe Woodbury Youth Football and Cheer. Resolved, the Board of Trustees approves the event application submitted by Peter DeVito of the Monroe Woodbury Youth Football and Cheer cheer practices to be held in the North Field of Crane Park on various Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. and Saturday mornings. Sign off on the event application has been made by the DPW, Building Department, and Police Department. They've submitted insurance, yes? And they completed application, which I think we got as well, right? That's what they approved everything on, right? Okay. We have some board members here, I believe, yes? So if the board has anything to discuss, we can chat with them, or we can just chat amongst ourselves, whatever anybody's comfortable with.
well, I'm just seeing this for pretty much the first time here,
Yeah,
and there are some questions.
sure.
Where are they looking to do this? Up where the carnival is?
Yes.
You know, that's an uneven surface. I haven't had a chance to even walk it, but I do see some rutting and stuff from the carnival rides leaving. There's no bathroom facilities. You know, Crane Park is supposed to be quote-unquote passive recreation, although we did get approval from the Monroe Improvements or Parks, whatever, Jim Rogers Group, to do the carnival in there with the caveat that the money made from the carnival goes back into the Crane Park Reserve. There's catch basins in there throughout that field to takes whatever water it can. And I just don't think that's a place for kids to be practicing. And
Because safety?
yeah, look at the ground up there. I mean, it's not like a manicured lawn.
Yeah.
There's rocks, there's catch basins, there's only culvert pipe, it's only a couple inches under the ground that's buried through there. It's uneven surface, they've been running rigs in and out of there with the carnival rides, it's all rutted. Kids start running around, twist an ankle. It's not meant for ball playing.
So they've already had a couple of practices there.
There's nothing wrong with it, there's nothing wrong with the field, it's pretty level where we get practice. There's no culvert pipes there, obviously shut down the ground, there's no manhole covers, in the area that we're practicing on right now. It's the same,
So they were practicing on it with?
Yeah, I gave him permission last week to work on it.
same terrain as
With
Pine
this-
Street or as, we paid for a field in Chester. Because in Monroe, we don't have our own field. So it's all the same terrain, no matter where we practice.
What's wrong with Smith Clove Park?
We don't have permission to play for a park.
What do you mean you don't have permission to play there?
We don't have permission to play. Every time we put an application, we get denied.
And you filed the insurance, right?
I'm just, you know,
We have to
Pe-
play
people-
outside of Monroe.
I'm sorry?
Our local team has to pay for a field in Chester.
Right, I understand.
I don't understand why Smith Clove Park is not allowing you to use that.
The bylaws don't allow a second league to come into play currently.
So I'm looking, what I'm a little confused about, because one thing it says, practice on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, Saturday mornings. But here it doesn't, is that all the time? Or, because then it says not always, only when needed.
It's not all the time. We don't own Chester Commons where we play. We get bumped out of there. We get bumped out of Pine Tree. We pay to play at these fields because we don't have anything here to play. You know, as Monroe residents, we have nowhere for our kids to play. And I went to Neil, and Neil seems to be the only one helping me put my kids from this town, this village, somewhere.
Pete, how many kids are we talking on the league, in the league?
130, 150 kids.
Wow.
And that's football and cheer?
We tried to merge with the other league, and they don't have it.
Well, that's neither here nor there. That's another conversation for another day, Peter. You asked for the ability to practice somewhere. I've reached out to several locations, and you were at the precipice of having no place to practice.
The school district? Nothing with the school
So I'm
district?
waiting to hear back. I reached out to them for the North Main Street playground, you know, in the back down there, in the hole.
Yeah, parking's tough over there, though.
But
That's-
parking is tough. They'd have to come down the ramp and walk. They could park up top, but then they have to come down. And, yeah.
Well, there's no lights
There's
in,
no
there's no
lights.
lights in Crane Park either.
It's lit enough before we, practice ends.
And so I've reached out to some people. I'm waiting. The new year just began, school year, so it may be a little bit troublesome and difficult to get them. Again, secondary, because if that can do that and it works there, then go with God. Have at it, right? But for my position, you were in a spot last week, and you took advantage of it twice, correct?
Yeah, no, I have nowhere to practice. We got bumped out of Chester because Chester.
Bumped you out of that,
Yeah,
right?
I
got it.
We're the jam, that's why.
Their Chester local teams take precedence over us, so we're struggling to find fields to play.
Sure.
You know, which is kind of tough, so.
But what changed that you used to be able to use Chester, now you can't? What made them say you can't?
It's not that we can't use Chester, it's just that if it's a double booking, they're gonna bump the Monroe team to give it to a Chester. And that happens quite frequently.
Got it.
So we end up kind of in a bind, and we tried numerous times to get it to Smith Club, but for whatever reason, we're not able to.
I know you have to do like an application by a certain date. I don't know when that is, but.
Again, that's
Right.
not for us.
No, I understand that.
You know what I mean? At the end of the day, for me, I want these kids to have a place to play. If I said to you, do it on the Mill Pond Parkway, that's asphalt. That would be a concern for me.
I just know that I didn't know that there was a practice until I drove by, and there was a lot of
But
cars.
that's on me.
that-
I'll take full responsibility, just for the public's education and understanding. The mayor is taking full responsibility for children playing on the North Pond, which I have always encouraged, whether it be a kite flying event, whether it be the carnival, whether it be kayaking in the future. I have taken the responsibility for the initial onset of them coming into the field. So not the board, just to be clear, the board had no knowledge of it whatsoever, but when I became aware of it, it was that day. Hey, we don't have a spot, can you help me? So I gave you a spot. Simple as that, nothing deeper, right? There's no money changing hands here. I don't know you, you don't know me. Okay, that's what I want.
Has our insurance company looked at that area in question?
You need to see if it's playable.
I think, there's standards for playgrounds. And I think that we should notify our insurance agent, let them take a look at that before we say yes to something. I'm just concerned.
Are you concerned more about the kids getting hurt or our liability?
Both.
Yeah. 'Cause I feel confident if Pete says he feels comfortable that it's passable to get out there and play, let him play.
I think,
We have our own insurance as well.
Does
Well, you furnished
Chester-
it.
Right, does Chester require any sort of release of liability?
Yeah, we have insurance, yeah.
Right, you have
Additionally
insurance.
insured, yeah, like you guys would be additionally insured.
Yes, but do they have a hold harmless statement or anything like that? Did they ever say, hey, listen, if blah, blah, blah? I don't know how that could possibly be. If you're on their grounds and somebody gets hurt to their negligence, certainly they would be on the hook. But that's like anything. I mean, we have people flying frisbees out there. Kid takes a dive for one and takes a shot in the head. I don't know, are we
Yeah,
responsible?
but
they're not filing an event application and we're approving it.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying, I don't,
I think our insurance company needs to look at that.
My only concern would be maybe just a very simple release of liability, not that it's, I mean, if a child is hurt, then they're probably gonna sue everybody. And you have insurance that covers you, the village has insurance that covers them. So my only concern would be some sort of very simple release of liability, which would help in a lawsuit if a child gets hurt on the field. It's different than just the mother takes her child there and the child plays frisbee. That's my only concern, but that can be something that can be worked out. If they're willing to do that,
Pen, please.
then you could go ahead and approve this subject to that.
I have one question. Is this is it a not-for-profit league or a for-profit league?
Non-for-profit. If there's somewhere else, we need to recommend first to practice at, and we're open to that.
Again, my only suggestion is perhaps you approve this, if the board wants to approve this tonight, I would only make it subject to some form of release of liability. It doesn't have to be 5 pages, it's just, if the child is hurt, you're releasing the village from
I
liability.
agree, that's fine with us. We can 100%.
Is that something you would draft?
Yeah, I mean, you guys have an attorney?
You go.
Well, you could ask for an attorney, or we could draft it. I mean, it literally would be, we release the village from liability should a child be hurt. And I'm sure your attorney would want to look at it, but rather than you paying your attorney to do that.
That's what I was gonna say, it's a nonprofit, so.
Yeah,
And just so you guys are aware, this wouldn't be something that we would be using on a daily basis. This would be something for those situations where we get bumped and we don't have anywhere to go, at least we know that could be a fallback. I mean, we're not even looking at that as being home base.
So how much notice would we get? Only because I'm thinking, when I drove through, there was a lot of cars everywhere and there was like parking enforcement. So like, in other words, how much notice do you get? Is it like an hour before?
All depends, again, we don't have our own field, and it knows that we live in, so
Sometimes it could be the day of.
we're at their mercy.
What's your concern there, Deb, with the notice?
Well, no, I'm just saying, because we're looking at it, but because we're not knowing. So in other words, you might need police. The police might have to go by because of parking. I'm assuming because it was,
Well, I would think, and I don't know this, I would ask, I'm gonna defer to you. Are you parking in parking designated spots?
No parking spots,
You're not in the middle of the road?
no.
You're not parking the
no,
wrong
it's
way?
like, is everybody practicing at the same time, or is there like a half hour? That's what I mean, everyone's coming at once.
So everybody parks, if somebody double parks, one of our coaches do go out and ask them to move right away.
So you have enough room for that? Do you go into the parking lot down toward the commuter lot?
Use whatever's available.
Available.
I just don't understand why they're not allowed to be in Swicklow Park. I'm not,
When is the meeting at the town, when is the park commission meeting?
you know what?
I think it's like the fourth Monday or something. The fourth Monday?
Fourth Monday?
Fourth Monday, the
Fourth Monday. If you have some time, maybe take a ride down with Andy.
No, I'm floored that we're not all working together here. That just, that baffles me.
You're floored.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say one thing, I was asking to get in there. I asked for the application, I got delayed. I put the application in, And I got a rate from them already. I spoke to their attorney, he's like, oh, we put it late, I said, you guys gave it to us late. I was away in Florida, Donna went to the meeting for me with our treasurer, and they denied us. And it's been an ongoing process that we've been denied for years and years and years and years. You know, I don't wanna separate, you know, my son's friends play in the other league as well. I don't like that they're separated. You know, all the kids wanna play together, and now we're divided. And it just seems that we have nowhere to go in this village. We wrapped our vehicles, Monroe, Woodbury, Crusaders. This is our high school, this is our school. You know, I'm sure you've seen our trucks out there. We stopped and played in the middle of town. You know how many people came there just to watch us practice? Stopped to watch the kids practice. I had adults, older adults come up to me and said, I was a Crusader. I was a Crusader numerous times. And we have nowhere for our kids to go. And we're all volunteers as well as you guys, you know, there's volunteers out there. We have nowhere to go.
Understood.
And we will clean our mess up, you know, we'll make sure all the water bottles are picked up, make sure the garbage is cleaned up. You know, we got a great staff behind us.
So we don't have to worry about the bathrooms or the lights.
I can pay for a porta potty if you would allow it there. I have no problem paying for a porta potty. Pine Tree made me do that, and we weren't always able to use that field. Had a porta potty there for a month and a half, and there was no reason for me to have it there because I couldn't use it. So that's another, again, this is a nonprofit. It's another wasted fee for me. And it's embarrassing when we play all the high school teams, all the kids that are gonna be in the other high schools. And it's embarrassing that our home field is in Chester for where we have to play. We have to pay to play at the high school if we want to play there, and then you have Goshen coming down. I feel like we're getting laughed at because, oh, you can't even play in your home field.
I get it. Okay, you have anything else, Deb?
I don't know, like I said, I found out just a little while ago,
I mean, anything for these folks?
not that I can really think of now.
John?
I've said my piece. I'm just concerned with that area up there.
Marty?
I have full support for these guys. They're doing a great thing, so it's like, I don't know why we wouldn't support them, like, even though there's liability issues or whatever, but full
So
support.
what do you say we do about the liability?
Well, I think that they're willing, if you're concerned about liability, if that's the concern, then I think they've already expressed the willingness to sign a release of liability, and, you can approve subject to that, if that's what the board wants to do.
Okay, and we don't have to worry about like the park purpose or whatever that was called.
Well, what about our insurance carrier looking at that prior to us making any kind of decision?
do
Or
that.
contingent on our insurance carrier looking at that?
They'll come and check it out, I guess. So how do we word that?
So the only problem with that, listen, these folks don't need to hear that, because this is just taking me to another planet. The fact of the matter is our insurance carrier comes out every single year to Smith Clove Park, every year. And he brings a ball, one of his toys, and he takes the toy and he puts it through things. This thing, that thing, this thing, that thing. Now just picture what I'm telling you. So it's a pair of stairs, it could be the sliding pond, it could be a game the kids have played, whatever it is. And he uses these devices to see whether or not, if a ball goes through it, it's unsafe. If there's an open end to a railing and a kid can get himself caught this way and hang himself, it doesn't pass muster. Every year we get a deficiency report on all those items. And you know how long that deficiency report has been going on? Since 1965.
So what do they find wrong with it?
Everything. Whole park has got problems. But nobody does anything about it. For
Well,
years.
maybe it's
for
time we
years-
do something about it.
For years, one of the most incredible things was, I was told by the fellow in charge of the park that we'll have an insurrection on our hands if you take any of that old equipment away. Finally, just 2 years ago, they took two pieces away. I don't even know what they were at this point. I forgot. So these are recommendations. Obviously, if these were objections, we wouldn't have insurance. They would say, we cannot write your policy because you're not compliant. They make these insurance recommendations, that's my point. And I think that falls through on anything, whether it's that field, whether it's the playground equipment. I mean, you've said you got parking on that side of the field, and then they run across the active lane to get to the field to play. I mean, listen, it goes back to the bubble theory, right? The bubble theory, well, let's just put them all in the bubble and they'll bounce around, and then when we're finished, we'll put them in a bubble at home.
That whole parking lot over there is extremely dangerous.
But
Which one?
It's McClove.
But I just think that my whole point is that we get to the place where between liability, exposure, all these things, it just gets overwhelming.
Look, I'm not against it. I just got this tonight. I'm trying
No,
to
I
go through
understand
it.
that. I
I want to
understand
go up
that.
there, I want to walk that field. You know, I've done a lot of turf management over the years, and I just standing up there during the carnival, you know what it's like.
So what are you suggesting?
What's that?
I said, what are you suggesting?
Well, I want our insurance carrier to send somebody out and take a look at it. Because they may tell you you're putting yourself at risk. I don't know. I'm an insurance guy.
But you need it and appreciate an answer pretty quickly, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the issue. Again, we can be bumped. We're at Chester Commons tomorrow, we can be bumped.
Right.
Originally, when we signed up, you know, we paid our fee, we got a permit for out there, they had no lights for us. There's more lights here at night around the park than there is at Chester Commons. That's totally pitch black. And we are usually out by 7:45, just as the sun's shining over here. So, and it works out. This works out for us. And we don't use the whole area where the hills are. We use the flat area just maybe about 20 feet from the lake until maybe where there's a little grass monument to the right of it. And we're on that flat area there. We don't practice on the hills. And I did see, you're right, I did see the ruts there from the carnival. There are some, that's up to the right of where we're not even here.
Good.
Again, I can put a porta potty there, and we can put a lock on it, and when we're there, we can open it and let the people use it.
Okay, I just reached out to the insurance inspector. I'm gonna see if he replies. If he does, I'm going to see if it makes a difference. Or if he can come down tomorrow, let's say. You know, I don't know. I mean, I can call the broker as well. He'll probably make a recommendation. But what we'll do is we'll do a contingent approval stating that contingent upon a successful inspection and a release of liability from a lawsuit or whatever. Is that what it is, counsel?
Yeah, it's just a kind of a play at your own risk type of,
It's like anybody else going there, right?
yeah, only because it's an event and it's
Right.
you, you know, you just do that.
Is there another spot we can practice at that you guys would approve without an issue?
What if they have the Sacred Heart grounds would be available to them?
I don't think that's, well, I don't know, you'd have to ask them.
That's
but-
pretty tough up
but
there.
that's pretty tough up
Behind
there.
the church, it's kind of,
Behind the church where the playground was? Yeah.
You think there's enough field there? Area, like,
I don't know. You'd have
I
to
mean,
check
the
it
team-
out, but I
it's
don't know.
all
team
uneven.
on the high side's gonna run faster.
It's all uneven. It's a shame that, you know, like the old horse track property, it's a shame
Yeah.
that that wasn't.
Well, we did talk about that, and that may be
Yeah.
down the pike, but that's going back to the land trust. Our hands were cuffed on several pieces.
That's another passive recreation.
Yeah,
They want you to go out there and just watch the birds sing. That's pretty much it.
well, that was the deal done.
His parents are now dinners on Wednesday night, Friday nights, and Monday nights, grabbing pizza from the local pizzeria. I mean, they're feeding,
Supporting the businesses.
yeah, and they're feeding, you know, their families with where we live, which is great, instead of grabbing something in Chester quick to go home and, you know, they're getting gas in town while they're here. They're getting
I
more
understand.
from
I understand.
Snowco and drinks. It's bringing a little bit of money back into this village by us being here in a little bit of time. You know?
I understand. All right, so I need a motion to approve the application put forward by this group contingent upon release of liability, and insurance carrier inspection on the field.
O'Connor will make the motion.
Second?
Berenger will second.
Call the question?
Berenger, aye.
Carl, no, and I'm in full support, but I just, this just got put on us tonight. I need time.
O'Connor, aye.
Dwyer, aye. Okay, so I'll do the diligence, and when I'm done, I'll give you a shout. Hopefully I could get some answers for tomorrow. And as far as the release of liability, I'll wait for council to draft it, and then we'll get to you folks, and so that'll be done rather quickly. The insurance, I'll just see what I can do about that right away. Thank you.
Good luck.
Have a good night. Okay, let's see. Okay, that was the last item I had. I have nothing. Any of the trustees have anything?
Yeah, we had, the police department hosted the Youth Police Academy last week, and there were some great kids that graduated on Friday. And next year, I know that there's going to be 2 Youth Police Academies. One session will be for 9 through 12 years old, and the other's for 13 through 16. And I just wanted to thank Kyle Mahoney and Chief and everyone that helped out. I know Sergeant Burke was there with K-9 Keen, and it was just really a great ceremony, but I know it was also a great week. So I'd like to thank them.
Yeah, a couple of things quick. Where are we on the air ruse? I know it looks like most of the village has been strung from pole to pole. So
I don't think
everything-
it's been a complete thing. I think they're doing it right now. Is the last piece, I think it was heading down to Pine Tree. I think I seen it up on,
Because they're all the way down to Harriman with that.
yeah, they actually did, I think, that in the first phase. I think I saw them on Stage Road just the other day, I believe. I don't know if anybody else did. I did. So I think they're closing in. He told me he needed a few more weeks at the time.
So then, once that whole, then
It's-
everything that's,
In that zone is gone.
and do we know who's taking that down yet?
I would expect the ones that put it up, so I think we would have to put a publication out, or we're gonna take it down.
Okay. What's our status with the streetlight upgrades?
Still waiting for Orange Rockland. It's disgraceful.
All right, the last thing I got, and I know it's, and again, I mean, it goes back to the Crane Park. The hydrogen sulfide in that airplane park is atrocious. It's getting progressively worse. It's coming from the village of South Blooming Grove. There was a system that they were supposed to have put online that now they're in a battle with the Orange County, and they're refusing to do it. And I really think it's time that the village send a strong letter to the village of South Blooming Grove and to the Orange County Sewer District and the county executive regarding the obnoxious odors. You come into Monroe, you come over the 208 tunnel, and you smell it. It smells like an egg salad festival. It's disgusting. But the time has come. Somebody's got to step up, because the building in South Blooming Grove is, take a ride out there, you can see what's going on. So it's only going to get worse, and they have no treatment in place. And we're the end result for gassing out in the drop manhole behind the airplane park.
Right.
So I know there's that smell over there. Does any of that area connect to other parts of the village
Yes,
that have that smell?
I'm starting to get it down by my house, and
Yeah,
the
I was
trunk
gonna
line,
say, I
the
noticed
trunk
it
line that
too.
comes down follows the Ramapo River down. There's
By the
times
bus garage
we
area.
get the smell down in my house. But I think the time has come for us to, as a village, we're being inundated by this. We want people to play in the parks. I have no problem with that. But this stuff here is a highly corrosive, eats manholes apart.
Yeah.
And we got children playing in parks, and this needs to be corrected. They want to build their tax base up in the village of South Blooming Grove. go for it. But something's gotta happen here, because it's only gonna get worse. And we need to put people on notice. We've had this discussion. We've talked with Pete Toohey, our county legislator. They're all aware of it. But South Blooming Grove, who was ready to make the move on that, a new system, backed off of it because of another issue.
I actually just suggested to the county that they pay for it.
That the county pay for it?
Yeah.
Well,
Maybe we should invite them down to take a little walk.
They know, no,
it's
they
all,
know.
everybody knows. It's, but you know what, we just
5
can't,
years.
we just can't sit here anymore and just keep allowing this to
You've been
happen.
talking about this since before you got on the board.
Well, here I am, and I think the time has come that we have our council put a strongly worded letter to South Blooming Grove and Orange County.
Okay, what else you got?
That's it.
That's it.
I'm
Mr.
good.
O'Connor,
I'm good.
council,
No, not, well, I do have an update on the second.
okay?
All right, I
Anyone else
just,
in public?
Good evening, Mayor, trustees, council, and Secretary. I just want to make it for the record that in the name of the community, we would like to send out our condolence to one of the longest-serving members of this village for the loss of his daughter. I know it's very painful, and may God ease his pain and send him healing, and for the entire family. And he should have lots of luck for whatever he does. He's a great member. He does a lot for the community. And let him continue on doing what he does. And I hope this is not going to disturb him from what he was doing, and just continue on. And we should just hear nice, good things.
thank you very much. Thank you.
Very thoughtful of you to say. Okay, at this time, I need a motion to go into attorney-client.
O'Connor will make the motion.
Second,
Carlos,
Second,
call the question?
Berenger, aye.
Carly.
O'Connor, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried.